Hello and welcome to today's video. So yesterday I published a video about my shopping experience in Japan on this little trip I just did, and I spoke through a range of the stores, showed some photos, and just gave some sort of like little things I thought about each shop, and some general overview thoughts. And today is the haul. So I've just got a couple of bags as the backdrop here. Today we're going to be talking about notebooks, ink, pens, and a few sort of accessories, shall we say. Now I'm going to work towards the pens because those are kind of, for me, the star. But let's start with a few sort of non-fountain pen items. So first things first, I'm a big fan of Caran d'Ache pencils, and particularly the Swiss wood pencil. And this has become very hard to get. Basically, it's, been discontinued and all that kind of stuff. And so when I saw a few of these in the Caran d'Ache store in Tokyo, in Ginza there, I grabbed a few of them because I think they're just absolutely brilliant HB writing pencils, and they smell amazing. So I got some of those. I also picked up this Tombow Mono mechanical pencil in this very, very cool sort of green color. I'd not seen this particular color in person, so I was really happy to pick this up. I really like Tombow Mono pencils. It feels good in the hand, nice to write with. I picked up also, as a very sort of impulse buy, a few of the Sailor Shikiori. These are the artist markers, so like they've got like a brush style pen on one end and then a fine liner sort of tip on the other. I've been using these the last few days. These are absolutely brilliant. I'm going to order a whole lot more. I'm really enjoying them for actually like sketching and drawing and stuff, because they're just absolutely fantastic. And then the last kind of novelty one is this. This is, you might recognize, a Uniball Jetstream. This particular one is the Disney Resort edition for Tokyo Disney. So as I said yesterday, Disney have a stationery shop in each park there, Disneyland and Disney Sea, and they've done a range of sort of collaborations with Zebra and Pentel and Uni here for the Jetstream. This is the multi. I thought this one looked great and was a nice little souvenir there with Mickey on it. So that's the little novelty pens. Now let's talk about a few of the notebooks I picked up. Now, obviously, I'm not going to cover everything today simply because I don't have time for that. I bought a lot of Life stationery products because they're really affordable and I love the paper. So I picked up like a bunch of pocket notebooks and a bunch of different things. But I also grabbed this, which is a 2026 diary. I really like a couple of features of this. Firstly, I love the fact that the ribbon is only around the top corner. I love the blue edging on the pages. Now, the way this is set up is it's got the month, for each month sort of laid out in calendar form, and then a bunch of note paper, which is a format that really works for me. It allows me to do sort of like broad planning and, know where I'm supposed to be on any given day, but then take project notes and things like that. I tend to use diaries like this for a single project, generally something that's going to take up, a bunch of the year. As you see, it's got monthly schedule, 96 page notes, it's B6 size, and it's got that awesome Life stationery paper. Next, a couple of Hobonichi products. I've already got my Hobonichi Techo for the year, but I found this very awesome weekly little pocket diary, which I've not seen in person in Australia. So this has the weeks set out, sort of, down the, from, across the page. And then a few pages of sort of note space at the back. Once again, this is a great one for keeping track of weekly where I'm supposed to be for what times. I don't love carrying a big diary sort of with me. I don't generally tend to use the Hobonichi Techo as a diary. I tend to use it more for like to-do lists. So this is going to be a lovely option to have, sort of very sort of an easy way of sort of time blocking out my week, on the nice Hobonichi paper. And then I also just got a few of the standard little pocket size notebooks. So these will fit in a nice sort of A6 size notebook cover. I've got a number of them. Probably the Apica one will be nice for these. It's a nice sort of leather cover, and allows me to sort of have, sort of the cover in one side and a notebook at the back, and have access to all of that. And I thought that was really cool. And also Hobonichi is so affordable. you know, like it's half the price almost of what it costs in Australia, and they have a few extra things. They've got the mega weeks, they've got, you know, the special spring, you know, spring starting edition, all those kinds of things. So it's really great to see it all there, and I really like the format of these. Next is something I can also get in Australia, but you know, it's the Nemesign from Merriman paper. This is the Clyde edition. This has a super fine, it's about a 2mm grid rule, very simple page layout, you know, sort of spiral bound, or, you know, ring bound there, and just a really clean, simple notebook, nice sort of plastic cover. These are the great utility notebooks, and the paper is super fountain pen friendly. Then I got two notebooks from Itoya. One is the Romeo notebook, and since 1914. And it's a really lovely sort of cream dotted paper. It's super, super smooth. It feels super luxurious. Once again, just that ring binding, but really lovely notebook, nice quality to it. This was about 16 Australian dollars. So we're talking like absolutely nothing really. And then this one is just an Itoya Basics, you know, like little Itoya logo there, grid notebook. Once again, the paper feels absolutely incredible. I'll do like more in-depth videos of a bunch of these things. It was more about sort of showing what I got in this instance, but this was like less than 9 Australian dollars. So it's a, you know, it's a smaller size. It's about B6 size, I think, but it's a really lovely looking notebook, nice sort of simple binding, and I think it's going to be really, really useful. Okay, so we've got 3 major kind of categories left. We've got ink, we've got traveler's notebook, and we've got fountain pens. So let's start with ink. I bought 6 bottles of ink on this trip. Now, I targeted one. There's one I knew I wanted. It was Sailor Shikiori Tsurubami, which is a lovely, I'll show you the color of the ink. Lovely sort of soft, sort of almost sort of hazelnut kind of brown. It's a really lovely color. These inks perform really, really well. They're nice and sort of generous on the page. You know, made in Japan, dye ink for fountain pens, and they just perform really, really beautifully. And once again, super affordable in Japan, like maybe 2/3 the price they are here in Australia. Next is a couple of inks I picked up from Tag. Now, Tag is a sort of like a chain of stores, and I went to one in Kyoto, and these are the 2 Kyono Oto inks. So I got Urahairo and Sakura Netsumi. And so lovely sort of warm green and a lovely sort of darker sort of purpley brown sort of almost color, or grey I should say. These are made in Kyoto for Tag, and so Tag had a really great range of these. I've had a number of these inks in the past and I've enjoyed them. They tend to run a little on the drier side, but you know, they're perfectly, you know, perfectly fine. And here are the 2 colors on the coloring card. You can see the sort of gray, browny sort of purple and a nice sort of warm foresty green. So beautiful ink colors, and you know, very simple, clean, no shimmer, no sheen, nothing like that. Just really, really great performing inks. And these were like $18 Australian. You can pay over $40 Australian for a bottle of this. And so to get it for like, yeah, 18, really, really great. One other ink I was interested in was this one. This is the Pilot Tsuwairo Blue Black. This is a pigmented ink that's safe for fountain pens. I just like have a list of pens I don't suggest you put it in, like vac fillers and, you know, anything particularly fancy. I love the color of this particular blue black. It's on the grayer leaning side of the blue, a nice darker shading, but because it is a pigmented ink, it's got good water resistance and all of that kind of thing. So I'm planning on putting this in like an everyday carry style pen. I think it'll be a wonderful, you know, ink for that sort of use, so that you can sort of write on anything, and you know, if it gets wet, then you're not going to necessarily lose all your writing. But this was like $12 Australian, which is once again about half the price you'd pay in Australia, and just love that color. I mean, look at that. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Now, I mentioned I went to Disneyland and Disney Sea, and Sailor made some inks with Itoya. You can see there, Sailor Itoya, dye inks to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Disney back in 23. So I picked up the Lion King edition. These come in the standard, you can see there, so that was $24 a bottle, but it is sort of a little bit more sort of specialist. So roughly Australian to yen is, you know, you knock off the last 2 digits, and that's sort of how we were sort of counting on the trip. Not an exact science, but, you know, like if it's 2,400 yen, you know, it's going to be about $24. And so this ink is really interesting. Like, I love, Lion King is my favorite Disney film, the original animated one, not the live action one. But I particularly love that film, and I always have. I remember seeing it at the cinema when I was young, very young. You know, this ink is lovely. It's sort of in that sort of nice honey brown category that I quite like. I don't use a whole lot, but I do like it. And this is it on a colouring card, of course. You know, it's just a beautiful colour, and a nice sort of, for me, once again, along with that Uniball Jetstream with Mickey on it, sort of a nice sort of souvenir of having visited a Disneyland and Disney Sea for the first time. The last ink I got is a really interesting one. It is a Kobe Nagasawa ink. And this one roughly translates, the name of it roughly translates to the scent of Japanese ink, or Sumika by Kobe. It's in the standard sort of nice sort of flat bottle. And this is a scented ink to sort of, it's safe for fountain pens, all that kind of stuff. But it's supposed to, you know, emulate both the color and the scent of Sumi ink. And this is the coloring because it's a soft black, but it's got a bit of shine on it. But it's really lovely, and it's just interesting. And I really love all of this. Like that sort of Sumi sort of style color sort of use there. I think it's absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful packaging. And yes, I think it's actually a really nice, simple sort of dark gray, almost sort of black. And yeah, I'm looking forward to using this. Okay, so we've done ink, we've done, you know, novelty pens, notebooks. Now it's time for Traveller's Factory. Now, as I said in my video yesterday, I visited 4 Traveller's stores. So I started at Traveller's Station in Tokyo, then I went out to the actual Traveller's Factory store. Then a few days later, we were in Kyoto, so I visited the Kyoto Traveller's Factory, and then 2 hours before we left, visited the Narita Airport Traveller's Factory shop. So what you find is that a lot of the individual stores have, you know, sort of their exclusives of, you know, the notebook covers. And so I picked up 2. I think there's also a Starbucks one, but that doesn't interest me because I'm more interested in the factory ones. So I picked up the Tokyo Station one. These are both the large size, and the Kyoto Traveller's Factory exclusive versions. We were hoping to get the pocket version of the Narita Airport, but out of stock at the moment. But these are absolutely fantastic. Love these. So the Kyoto one is the blue leather, which is quite green, but it's got this beautiful sort of a gold foil of, you know, sort of traditional sort of Japanese foods and all those kinds of things. And then, you know, some of the sites around Kyoto, which is rather lovely, really. And there's Traveller's Factory Kyoto there. So I haven't started using this particular one yet, but I did start using the Tokyo Station one as soon as I got it. You can see it's already sort of showing some signs of being used. That's like, you know, just going in suitcases and bags and, you know, being used every day. This is the standard sort of brown. I only have 2 notebooks in here at the moment. I have one that was my stamp collector in the craft, which I'm going to use the stamps for scrapbooking the trip. I also stamped the front of it there, and I love this. You know, have a good day, good music, good coffee, and a good notebook, Traveller's Factory. That's good advice for life. You know, I think that's a really cool stamp. So each of the stores have a little stamp set up where you can, you know, do like a visitor's pass and a couple of stamps that are unique to that individual store, which is really cool. So yes, we have the Kyoto edition and the Traveller's Factory Station edition there, and then I also just got like a range of the refills. So I've got here a couple of pocket ones. That's Traveller's Factory at the Narita Airport, just a random sort of Tokyo one. Once again, we've got the station where I stamped the front there, Tokyo Station, Kyoto. This is the airport edition in the large size, another Tokyo one, and then 2 here, which we've got the Hosio style paper and the green tea leaf paper, which I haven't even opened and looked at yet, but very interested to sort of check those out. The standard notebooks are like, sort of considerably cheaper than buying them in Australia. The special ones cost a little bit more, as you can imagine, same as the covers. So the covers come in at I think they were around the 60 Australian dollars for the sort of exclusive covers, and I'm quite comfortable with that. I think that's a great deal, all things considered. But that's not all I got at the Travelers Factories. I also picked up this amazingly adorable little set of pencils, coloring pencils, which come with a little sharpener, and they're actually legitimate little coloring pencils, but they're, the whole setup's about the size of, sort of like a business card or something like that. It's really very cute and cool. It's got a couple of washi tapes. We all know how much I love washi. So one from the that was the Narita airport. I think this one was in Tokyo. It's the subway lines, all that kind of stuff. Love that kind of thing for scrapbooking. Love it for sort of journaling about a trip. I journal quite a lot, so that's worked out. All these little bits and pieces are working out really nicely. Also picked up a little sort of canvas tote bag here from the train station. Keep it rolling, or keep it rolling, traveler's train. Which I think is quite cute. Carried everything around in that for a couple of days. And I also got this. So this is one of these, how do I say that? Toyo, made in Japan, toolbox sort of things. This is the Traveler's Toolbox, the Traveler's Company one, so it's an exclusive. It's a nice sort of simple sort of clamshell box, with a little hinge. All pressed out of one piece of steel, so there's no seams, anything like that. We sell these in Australia, and I enjoy them, but to be able to get a Traveller's Company one I thought was really, really cool. What I love about this is that I can fit like a nice sort of pocket-sized notebook and my everyday pens, the wingback pens, in here, and I can just put that into my bag, and I get to carry them around nice and robust, and this all will get sort of dinged up and all that kind of stuff, and I kind of love that. Once again, we all know I like my things showing their use. Now we're on to fountain pens, and I'm going to start with this one because it's the novelty one. So this is Kuromi. This is just a very basic sort of Chinese-made, fountain pen you could buy on eBay or AliExpress for any sort of company. But it's got Kuromi on it. Kuromi is a massive cult thing at the moment, and it's just a nice little pen. So this obviously isn't for me, but it is a fountain pen that we got. It comes with a couple of cartridges, all that kind of stuff. Nice, simple, and that was really affordable, about 16 Australian dollars, and cute. So that belongs to my partner. Here are the pens I bought. So I only bought 4 actual fountain pens, but these are special. So 3 of these fountain pens are going to be getting full reviews over time. The only one that won't is the Prera. So I love the yellow of this Prera. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The Prera is a really simple pen. It's got a great capping system, very satisfying. Pilot, so obviously comes with Pilot quality, and it's just such a lovely color. And I've just been using black Pilot cartridges in this so far, and carrying it like in my pocket most days. I just find the color to be really nice, and I quite like also the Kaweco Honey, which is a similar sort of yellow, but I think I prefer the form and of the Prera just a little bit more, and I think I prefer the Pilot nibs more than the Kaweco nibs. This one here is made of deer leather, so apologies to my vegan friends. This is Fumisome. Fumisome is once again a TAG brand, so I bought this at TAG in Kyoto. It is a brass and leather fountain pen, so all the innards are all brass. It's got what looks to be a Yovo nib on it there, and it's a beautiful nib. And then it's covered in deer leather. So this is a natural product. It's already showing the fact that I've been using it. So it's going to develop like leather patina and things over time. It might scuff a little bit, it'll ding up. This pen cost about 200 Australian dollars, which is like to buy it online costs about 300 Australian. So to be able to buy it in person obviously was a good deal, and I was able to try it and look at it and hold it and all those kinds of things, which is always a good start. Now I have this I won't write with the Prera today, but I will write with these 3. So I have this inked with a Fumisome ink, which is their chlorophyll. You'll see the writing sample. It's a lovely sort of soft green. I think it's the kind of pen that will work better with a highly saturated ink. Chlorophyll is a really light ink. It's made using like cedar wood and things like that, I think, from memory. So it's sort of got like a earthy undertone to it, but it is quite light. But this pen is just so beautiful, and the feel of it in the hand, like this leather is really soft, and it's unlike anything else I have in my collection, and I love that. This one is the Mighty fountain pen, and this is from the brand Romeo, and it is, once again, it's an Itoya product. And what you do is you can, this color combination is not available. It is, but not commercially, like not just like off the shelf. Basically, you go in, you fill out a form, you select what color you want the end finial to be, what clip you want, what color cap barrel you want, what nib size you want, what nib color you want, what grip section material you want, what barrel material you want, what ring material you want, and what end finial material you want, and then you come back like a day later and collect it. This costs about 125 Australian in this format. Different materials cost different things. So the Italianate orange there costs a little bit more than some of the other materials for those sections. Not by much, but like maybe $1 apart. But it's a really interesting pen. It's got a Schmidt nib on it, and it comes with a Schmidt converter. And it works perfectly well. I've currently got this inked with the Lion King ink from Sailor. It's a very slim pen. It's a nice length pen in the hand. It does post, but I don't find myself needing to post it. I find it maybe a touch long that way, but it is a nice long pen in the hand and a very, very comfortable writer. So you'll see that in the writing sample just shortly. And then the Star. This is a pen that I bought for myself. I turn 40 next year. The last few years I've bought nice pens for myself for my birthday, and so this is the Pilot Sylvan or the Sterling, depending on where you are. I call it the Sylvan because I think it's made of sterling silver, and this is the lattice finish. It's got a really, really lovely 18 karat gold inlaid nib. I got it in a medium here, and it's got one of the most beautiful snap cap mechanisms I've used in a long time. So the funny story about this one is I had wanted this pen I've wanted it for at least 18 months, and I kind of had it in mind for my 40th birthday present to myself. Obviously, I've got it well ahead of time and I'm already using it, but I know what it represents. I also wanted to get it in Japan because it's a Japanese pen, Pilot, obviously. And so, yeah, I wanted to get it there. I went into the store. I checked out the other models I had on display. This is in Itoya in Tokyo, and they didn't have this finish on display. And I said, do you have any other versions? Using Google Translate and things like that, and to sort of get through language barriers. And it came out that they didn't have any other versions, so I decided on another version because I really wanted it to get it, to represent the trip as well. And I said, and what they had on display was a fine nib, and I said, do you have a medium? And she pulled out the tray from underneath the counter, and sitting in the tray was this lattice version in a medium nib, and I just said, I'll take that. And so I did. So this is how I got this pen. Not an inexpensive pen. Like, if the model generally sort of retails either side of $1,000 Australian dollars. But it was a pen I've wanted for quite a while, and I was able to sort of make that work, and it represents a couple of important things for me: a nice trip to Japan, but also coming up to my 40th. So this is the Pilot Sylvan, and let's do a writing sample with these pens. Okay, let's do this writing sample now. I've just got the Romeo notebook here to do it in. Nice sort of a cream dotted paper here. We'll start with the Fumisome Deer Leather fountain pen. It's got a steel. I'm pretty sure it's a Yovo fine nib, and the ink is Fumisome. I'll probably spell this wrong. Chlorophyll. Really interesting ink. Looks great. Beautiful pen to write with. As I said, I'll do a full review of this pen because I think it's an interesting pen. It's like nothing I've got in my collection, but as I said, you can already see sort of like that leather patina sort of starting to show up, which I really enjoy. Next is this. This is the Mighty, the Romeo Mighty fountain pen. This has a steel Schmidt, I'm not sure what all that was, medium nib, and the ink in this is Sailor at Itoya, Disney 100, The Lion King. This pen writes really wet. It is on the slim side, but I don't mind it so much. I would have bought this pen even if it was hideous, just because I think it's interesting, and you know, you can't get it sort of just anywhere, and in fact you can pick and mix your own color combinations and things like that. I really like it. Once again, full review of that coming up soon. And then lastly, this beautiful Pilot. This has an 18 karat gold medium nib, and the ink in this is Pilot Iroshizuku Shinkai. I adore this ink, and for the last few months before I got this pen, when I was debating what to ink it with, because, you know, like we all think about when we've got a pen purchase like this coming up, I was debating between this and standard Pilot Blue Black. I wanted to stay with the Pilot, and I want this to be a pen I can use every day. So I should say, I was tossing up between this and the Custom Urushi, and I was able to try a Custom Urushi, and it's just too big for an everyday writer for me. I'd love to own one, but my pens have to be able to be used daily. That's my first criteria. Will I want to write with this pen, to journal with it, to, you know, to do everything in my daily to-do list, whatever? This pen fits my hand absolutely beautifully, posted or unposted. I quite like the balance of this unposted. So I wanted it to be a dark, almost sort of blue-black, and so I went with Iroshizuku Shinkai, just because I think it's a slightly nicer shade of ink just for my taste. It is a gift of a nib. Absolutely divine. Smooth, generously wet. This paper is also beautiful to write on, I have to say. Absolutely gorgeous. But you can see it's writing wet, it's writing smooth. It's just absolutely lovely. So this review will be coming out in March, around the date of my birthday. You know, just in terms of this paper, a couple of spots from there from the Lion King ink have come through. It's interesting. Writing on the face of this paper, it feels really, really lovely. So I'll do a more in-depth sort of review of this at some point as well. I might sort of bundle up a few of the notebooks and things I got on this trip and do like a batch review. But yes, this is an absolute gift of a pen. It writes beautifully. So looking forward to using it more and more and more, and doing a full review. So this was just a really quick little like overview of my haul from Japan. A lot of people have been asking, you know, what I bought while I was there, and, you know, I wanted to sort of just show a few highlights, if you will, things that, you know, like particularly interested me or moved me from this trip. Obviously, this trip wasn't all about stationery. It was about some downtime and relaxing. But, you know, when you get to go to a couple of travelers' factories and you get to buy a bunch of really fun pens and, you know, all those kinds of things that, you know, just adds to it. It makes, for me, it makes the trip just that every bit more sort of enjoyable and, you know, relatable to me on something that I'm really interested in. So I hope this video was interesting and it answered some questions for you. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, hit the notifications button. Feel free to use the affiliate links and everything down below if there's any products that are of interest. And yeah, if you'd like to support the channel, I'd really love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.